What's up, guys, and welcome back to Jimmy Talks. If you're new here, I'm glad to have you here. I really am. Please come and join us. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back. It's good to talk to you again. My loyal fans, I love you all. All right, let's just get right into it. How the government spies on you. This is it's not declassified, but it was discovered by a whistleblower, and he decided to put it out to the general public. This is verifiable information. He put it out on WikiLeaks, and this is called the Vault 7 leaks. This is now all declassified as of now because he released it, and it's verifiable information online, not just some extreme paranoia or something. National surveillance in the United States is complex and it's honestly kind of freaking creepy, and it raises questions about privacy and security. The government, through agencies like the FBI, the NSA, and the CIA, has developed sophisticated tools and methods to monitor digital activities, specifically in ways that are not immediately obvious to the general public. This video will hopefully explain how these systems work, based on documented programs and sources, to provide you with a clear picture of really what's going on in the modern surveillance state. And again, guys, you can find this information yourself, if you do not believe me, on the Vault 7 leaks on wikileaks.com. I have looked up all of these sources as I do for all my videos. Of course, I do research on this stuff. And I'll see some Reddit post that's like, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't exist because blah, blah, blah. Well, it does, because some guy leaked literal, actual classified information. You can read it all yourself, and I encourage you to do so, because knowledge is power. Anyways, let's begin with the FBI and their use of surveillance software. The FBI has employed tools like Magic Lantern, SciPav, and the Carnivore system, also known as DCS-1000 for network investigations. These programs function as keyloggers, or spyware, in other words, capable of recording keystrokes, capturing files, and tracking online activity. A keystroke is just what you tap on your keyboard. They can log it. All right, so that's what that means. These sorts of programs have been around since the early to mid 1990s, so this isn't anything particularly new to say. Unlike typical malware, these tools are designed to evade detection by regular antivirus software that everyone uses, like Norton or McAfee, due to legal exemptions that allow the FBI systems to operate undetected. This means that once their keyloggers and malware are installed, they can collect data from a device without the user's knowledge, which is then transmitted back to the FBI for analysis. Basically, what this means is they can see everything you're typing in real time, and the information is saved. Every time you tap a key on the keyboard, they can see it, even if you delete it by pressing backspace. This tech, specifically referring to DCS-1000, is outdated and it's not used anymore, so they most likely use an advanced version of these programs nowadays, which we don't know about. Next, consider the NSA's role in hardware-based surveillance. The NSA has forced companies like Intel and AMD to integrate features into computer processors, a CPU, that enable remote access. Remote access is being able to access a computer without actually being at it. It's like a remote job. You're doing the job, but you're at home. You're not actually at the job site. I hope that makes sense. Intel's management engine and AMD's platform security processor are components that can allow the NSA to access a device even when it appears to be powered off, as long as it has a power source. These systems can potentially monitor activity, access the files on your computer, or activate peripherals like webcams without user consent. This capability raises concerns about the security of everyday computing devices. In other words, they can access your computer and everything on it as long as it's simply just plugged in. Next, let's go on to random number generators. The NSA has also influenced the design of random number generators, which are critical for encryption technologies like RSA. Random number generators are basically just that, random number generators, but they're important for cybersecurity, as they produce a random sequence of numbers that are hard to predict. But the NSA found a workaround. Through a system known as dual elliptic curve, the NSA introduced weaknesses that make it easier for them to decrypt secure communications, which sometimes rely on random number generators to gain access to the encrypted files. This affects everything from online banking to encrypted emails, exposing your sensitive data to government access. The use of compromised random number generators undermines the trust that regular people place in encryption systems. In other words, they can still access encrypted information. Another area of concern involves American made electronics. Tools in the NSA's ANT/TOW catalog, such as Cottonmouth Eye and Surly Spawn, enable devices to transmit data via radio frequencies. By the way, before I even go any further, let me clarify what ANT and TAO means, ANT and TOW. The ANT acronym stands for Advanced Network Technology, which is a detailed catalog of all the tools the agency uses for hacking, malware, and all that. TAO stands for Tailored Access Operations. This is basically the best of the best hackers in the government, as well as intelligence analysts and computer and software designers and developers. They protect the high-ranking officials from being hacked by foreign adversaries. Think of the president's cell phone, for example. Anyways, back to Surly Spawn. What this means is that even if a device is disconnected from the internet, it could still send information to nearby receivers via radio waves to communicate keystrokes on a keyboard operated by the FBI or the NSA. This does have its downsides, as they have to get inside of the facility where this computer is held at and plug in a device into the computer. But regardless, these capabilities, which were revealed through leaked documents, suggest that physical isolation from networks, in other words, being disconnected from the internet, may not fully protect against surveillance. Basically, what this all means is that they can still access your computer, and even if it is not connected to the internet, they can still see it. All they need to do is physically install the device, and that brings me on to the next method that they use. They can intercept electronics you purchase online and install bugs in them. The NSA's reach extends to online purchases as well, yes. According to the ANT/TOW catalog, the agency can intercept electronics like laptops or phones that you purchase online during the shipping process, before you receive whatever you purchased. At covert facilities, they install hardware or software modifications, such as malware chips, which is basically something that is purpose-built to disrupt a computer or to gain access to it. They do this before delivering the device to the customer and then reseal the box and make it look untouched. This method is particularly targeted at people labeled as persons of interest, a category that can include anyone from activists, journalists, or others deemed of significant interest by the agency. These interceptions mean that devices may arrive already compromised, unbeknownst to the user. They can also identify Tor users, VPN be damned. For those seeking anonymous uses online, and rightfully so, the NSA's ability to undermine the Tor network is especially troubling. Through programs like Fox Acid, Quantum Insert, and Egotistical Giraffe, yes, those are real names, by the way, the NSA can identify and target Tor users. Major internet service providers, including AT&T, Comcast, and Verizon, have been documented assisting these efforts by sharing user data with federal agencies. This compromises the anonymous use case that Tor is designed to provide, making it difficult for users to browse privately without risk of identification. Major tech companies also play a role. Through programs like PRISM and the NSA's TAO team, TOW, companies such as Microsoft have provided the NSA with advance notice of zero-day vulnerabilities, security flaws unknown to the public. The NSA's hoarding program allows them to exploit these vulnerabilities before patches are released, giving them access to systems and data that would otherwise be secure. This practice delays public fixes, leaving users vulnerable for longer periods. Basically, what this means is that tech companies provide secret backdoors so that tech can be accessed, and they provide that information to the government, the NSA. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the NSA will figure out exploits in consumer electronics but will not tell the company, as it works in their advantage to not have it patched. The CIA, meanwhile, has developed its own surveillance capabilities. The Vault 7 leaks on WikiLeaks, which you can visit for yourself, as I said earlier, and I really implore you to do so, revealed that the CIA can infiltrate, they're studying car control systems, potentially allowing them to manipulate a vehicle's functions, such as braking or steering, remotely. This raises serious safety concerns as modern vehicles increasingly rely on interconnected systems. Similarly, the CIA's Weeping Angel program targets smart devices like TVs and voice assistants, turning them into listening devices. Even when the TV or Alexa is turned off, these devices can still record audio, transmitting conversations to the CIA without the user's knowledge. So, yeah, the CIA is trying to figure out a way to control cars so that they can conduct undetectable assassinations. They died in a car crash. You know, the NSA can already upload files to your computer for you, even if you didn't do it. You know, if you say something against them, suddenly you have a bunch of child porn on your computer. It reminds me of the Las Vegas shooter, which we still know nothing about. And then the Las Vegas shooter's brother came out against it, and he was like, hey, that doesn't sound like my brother. And then magically a week later, they found a bunch of child porn on his computer. Just kind of crazy. I'll make a whole ass video on that. Don't worry. But I'm rambling now. To summarize all of this, national surveillance in the United States involves a range of advanced techniques. And these are just the ones that we know about. The FBI uses undetectable software to monitor devices. The NSA can embed backdoors in hardware and encryption systems. And the CIA wants to target vehicles and smart devices. They can already target smart devices. I don't know if they can target vehicles yet. Maybe, who knows? These agencies also collaborate with private companies, from internet service providers to tech giants, to access data and exploit vulnerabilities. Programs like those in the Ant/Tau catalog, Prism, Vault 7, and others demonstrate the extent of these efforts. While these measures are often justified as necessary for national security, they raise serious questions about privacy, oversight, and the balance between safety and personal freedom. Personally, I find all of this very creepy and a major violation of my privacy. To put it very lightly, is calling it creepy. But understanding these systems is the first step toward an informed discussion about their implications. Let me know if you enjoyed this content in the comments down below. Again, this is all verifiable and declassified information, mostly from the Snowden leaks in 2014, the early 2010s, when all this was starting to pop up. If you wish to check these sources, just Google search anything in this video. And again, guys, this was a decade ago and was information that was not supposed to be leaked. Just imagine what the tech is like in 2025, because this stuff was pretty wild to discover, and that was over a decade ago now. And they've been doing this stuff since the 90s. With the new AI systems coming out that are going crazy fast in development from just regular civilians in the private sector, no less, imagine what these high-tech and top-secret tech agencies with pretty much unlimited funding, a blank check, have access to nowadays with the rapid advancement in technology. Okay, guys, let me know in the comments what other topics you'd like to see covered. Until next time, always stay true to yourself. Jimmy Talks out.